We begin with short prayers. Om Kyantimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshuram Miritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Tina Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. We welcome all of you in our weekly sessions. And I really beg forgiveness that we couldn't meet last week because I recently had a surgery, so I couldn't sit properly. So, but now still I'm better from my condition. So I thought let's not miss and let's meet all of you. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic since a very important festival, Ram Navami, is nearing by, the appearance of Lord Ram on 26th, tomorrow, and in some places day after tomorrow. And it's a very auspicious occasion when Lord takes appearance. He doesn't take birth, but he appears. His birth and his activities are not same as the human beings like all of us. Therefore, he's God. Therefore, we'll be discussing some important lessons from Ramayana. And I hope you can reply in the chat box if all of you are accustomed or all of you know about Ramayana, at least something about Ramayana. You can type in the chat box. Yes. You must have heard some stories of Ramayana. You must have seen on television also or on internet, on YouTube, something you must have come across regarding Ramayana. It's a very famous scripture, and all over the world, actually, not just in India, but all over the world. Even historians find many, when they excavate things, they find many many proofs of existence of culture, Vedic culture, which was spread throughout the world. So we'll be discussing some important lessons from Ramayana. Ramayana is a very vast scripture of 24,000 verses, but we won't be discussing in detail because it will take almost an year. And it has many important lessons when all of you will read Ramayana. It has many important lessons. Each incident teaches so much. And it's very nectarian, very beautiful description of Lord Ram's pastimes. And all of you know the basic storyline. I'm just expecting all of you know the basic storyline of Ramayana. And even though someone may not be aware, we'll just be discussing very important lessons from Ramayana. Okay, so I'll just share the PPT just a second. Okay, is the presentation visible to everyone? Can someone confirm, please?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we'll be discussing 25 important lessons from Ramayana. As you can see, Lord Ram, Lakshman, Sita, and Hanuman in the picture. And this for four brothers, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughan. Okay, so Lord Ram, he took birth in the Sun dynasty in the city of Ayodhya in India. And there were four brothers, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughan. So that's how the story begins. They were born. And now we'll discuss important lessons from the most important events of Ramayana, which were the turning points, and many lessons for all of us. We can learn a lot from those lessons. We can learn a lot from those incidents. And we'll discuss, like, not everything will be discussed, but we'll take quite time to discuss so that we can penetrate and we can absorb in past times of Ramayana. All right. The first lesson which we learn here in the story of Ramayana, there are many lessons, but the most important 25 ones are taken, 25 lesson. The first one is power of bad association. Power of bad association is the first lesson. Okay. Would someone like to read what is written beneath? Anyone?
Yes, Prabhu. It was a known fact in Ayodhya that Kaikeyi loved Lord Rama more than her own son Bharat. Then how could she become so evil? It is by her bad association with Manthara.
Yes. So I'll just describe briefly the storyline for those of you who may not be aware about the story of Ramayana. So as Lord Ramchandra was born in the Ikshvaku dynasty in the Sun lineage, and there were four brothers, Lord Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughan. His father, whose name was King Dasharath, was a very famous and powerful king. And the sons were not, they weren't born normally. They were born from the sacrifice. The fire demigod gave them a sweet container of sweet rice. These were divided amongst the queens. He had three principal queens, namely Kekai, namely Kaushalya, who was the eldest one, Kekai, and Sumitra. Okay, just to so that everyone is on the same page. And since Lord Ram was the eldest because he was the son of Kaushalya, Kaushalya gave birth to Lord Ram, Kekai gave birth to Bharat, and Sumitra gave birth to Lakshman and Shatrughan. Okay. So, Lord Ram, as it was the custom that after the present king, the eldest son becomes the emperor. So, Lord Ram was supposed to be the emperor of the dynasty, emperor of the city Ayodhya. And he was the favorite of all, even in the family and even in the subjects. He was very famous, full of all qualities, full of all virtues. All good qualities were present in him. And he was supposed to become the king. The storyline goes that when he came from his school after he learned 25 years, 20 years in his 25 years from his teacher, whose name was Vasishtha. So Lord Ram came back to his palace, and then his education was complete. He was ready to be coronated as the king. He was already the prince of his family, and then was supposed to be the king. Already it was decided and it was declared in the entire city that Ram will be coronated as the king the next day. And when the news reached everyone, news also reached to one of the maid servants whose name was Manthara. Now, this Manthara was the assistant or so called, we can say, maid servant of the second queen of the king whose name was Kekel. So this mantra was very crooked in nature, very crooked, and in the current language, in the current trend, we can say she was very toxic in nature. So she went up to his mistress, her mistress Kekai, and then she blackmailed. She warned her that see, Ram is going to become the next king, and so if he becomes the king, his mother Kaushalya will be given more attention. And your son won't be the king, so you will become useless. You'll become as good as a maid servant. And do you think you want to become a maid servant? You are such a righteous lady. You are the queen. And in recently, it has been decided, it has been declared that Ram will become the next king, and so you lose your existence, you lose your value. So she filled in poison within her. And she loved Ram more than her own son. But due to bad and toxic association of her servant, mantra of a maid servant, she became poisonous, she became toxic in nature, and she erupted into a protest. She went out to her husband, whose name was Dasharath, and then asked her two boons, which she was supposed to ask way before, but she delayed those boons, saying that she'll ask whenever it was needed. I hope all of you are going clear with. I'm explaining very briefly, not going into the details, but just to get you going. So, And then she asked for two boons, and the king happily agreed that, okay, my dear queen, I love you so much. Whatever you ask, I'll fulfill. You are my most dear wife. And then she played the trick. She asked that instead of Ram becoming the king, my son should become the king. And this Ram should be banished to the forest for 14 years. Because if he goes to the forest, he'll die. The wild animals will kill him, and my son becomes the undisputed king of the city, and I'll be given more importance. She was already given more importance because she loved Ram more than her own son. She was very dear to Lord Ram. But when the king heard this, he was shocked. He almost fainted. How could a lady do this? So the lesson we learn here, Kekai was good at nature. She was very wise and she was very sweet in nature. But bad association, toxic association changes everything. As the saying in English goes, a man is known by the company he keeps. And therefore, not, and in today's scenario, not just toxic behavior, toxic people, bad people, but even whatever we are consuming on internet, we should not be consuming anything which is harmful for our mental health or for our spiritual life. Because we may also have the experience that whenever we hear something, we see something, it reflects in that next day when we are chanting. Whenever we chant, all of you must have experienced, and all of us have experienced, and this is a very common question asked, that whenever I sit to chant, I meditate, and my mind wanders like a wild animal. My mind wanders like anything, and we are not able to focus, and it just gets very difficult to focus. What should I do? It happens because we make our mind restless by our own efforts, by consuming a lot of data on it. We see so many reels, we just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. The movies we see, the web series we see, the books we read, the people we be with. So it's very important to always screen our association, our company. And therefore, it is as advised in spiritual life that a spiritual seeker who wants to achieve the purpose of life, connecting the connection to God, he should always associate with people, with devotees of the similar interest, so that he does not contaminate his consciousness. And even in devotees, even in spiritual circles, he should be associated with favorable people. Those who don't fill him or her with poison. No negativity in behavior. That's a very first and most important lesson. Okay, as you can see in the picture, she's filling poison. She's just poisoning her, making her more and more toxic. While she was innocent, and we may be surprised at how an innocent person can change. It happens. It gradually happens. Even a person may be innocent, may be cultured, maybe have very good habits, but he can change to next level when he's in good association or in bad association also. Okay. So coming to the lesson number 2. Now, as the storyline goes, Lord Ram, when he heard after the boons were asked, the king, whose name was Dashrath, he was very surprised, very shocked, and he fainted. He didn't have the courage to call his eldest son, who was very dear to him, like his own heart. He couldn't call him and give him this punishment. So the mother, Kekai, she called him. She called and said that your father was supposed to give you two boons. And the first one, which I asked, is my son should become the king. Second, you should go to the forest for 14 years. And to uttermost surprise, Lord Ram accepted it with gratitude. He was very happy. He was like, you could have said earlier, there's no problem. Why do you think there's a problem? Why my father is not happy? I'm not attached to the throne. Whatever both of you want, all of you are my parents, whatever you think is beneficial for me, okay, I'm ready to go to the forest and let my brother become the king. Because my father has given you this order, it is my duty to keep my father's words. So he was very dutiful in nature, and therefore Lord Ram is called Maryada Purushottam, means the best of the humans, in keeping all the religious principles. He was ideal king of the earth, of the earth planet has ever seen. So he very gratefully accepted this reversal and gave up his post and position. He, like, just imagine, he was supposed to be the king the next day. And the previous day, he's banished, he's sent out to the forest. So, in this material world, in this world, whenever we are compromised with our post, position, and privileges, we get hurt, we get disturbed, right? More than that, the lesson we learn from this incident is more than the perks, the privileges we have in our lives, we should be attached or we should be more concerned about the service, the contribution. Perks and privileges may help a person. It may facilitate. They are not for enjoying. Post and positions are not meant for enjoying. They're not meant for us to exploit others. Post, positions, and privileges, they are meant to serve others. If we have some good post and position, some necessary facilities, money, manpower, it's not meant to serve us, it is meant to serve the humankind. So, more than the position and privileges, one should be more concerned about services and contribution, not just the posts and positions. And we see in this modern world, therefore, there are so many fights going on. We are seeing today, one countries are fighting amongst themselves, throwing missiles at innocent public because they think being in power is the most important, not concerned about the main service, contribution to humankind, elevating the people to a spiritual level. No one is concerned about that. Everyone is concerned about their own becoming superpower, their own natural oil reserves. So when this selfish mentality is there with the leaders, they're more concerned with privileges, perks and privileges. That's a very, so to say, it's a very ghastly mentality. And therefore, there is so much chaos in the world. I don't know if all of you are aware, all of you must be aware, the wars are going on, right? There is a warning of ceasefire. So many people are dying. Airline fares are rocketing up high. There is shortage of LPG in many places. I don't know if you're aware. So much crisis going on in this world just because some people are greedy and selfish. Therefore, Ramayana, this book Ramayana is source of inspiration and education for all walks of people, all walks of life, for the leaders, for men, women, for housewives, people who are working, for children, for everyone. So much crisis in this world is going on. And therefore, people should be more concerned about services, contributions. What can I contribute to the public, to the humankind, to my society, to my country? More than perks and privileges. If someone contributes nicely, he automatically receives post and position gradually. But people want to grab post and positions and perks and privileges and power beforehand, even though they don't deserve it. And that's a sad situation. Okay. We can go on and on, such important and vital lessons actually, and therefore, but we want to finish also. And therefore, this is a condition of the world where leaders are not up to the mark. They should learn from the character of Lord Ram, being not attached to services. Okay. Next lesson. With this, we'll finish. Number 3, mission of life should be to vanquish the demoniac tendencies in our heart. All of the lessons which we are discussing and sharing, please note it down so that all of you remember at least the lesson, not the explanation. Okay. So the storyline goes that before banishment of into the forest, when Lord Ram finished his education and came to his own palace, a great sage visited the assembly of his father, of the king named Dashrath. The name of the sage was Vishwamitra. All right. So When he came, the king respected him, offered him his own seat, and asked him that, my dear sage, how can I serve you? What can I do for you? And that's what people do, right? Whenever they meet a spiritual person, they ask what can be done for them. And this practice is common everywhere in the world. So Vishwamitra says that I am being troubled, we are being troubled, all sages in the forest, they are being troubled by the demonic powers. They don't let us do sacrifices, they don't let us chant peacefully, meditate peacefully, and do spiritual activities. These demons, they come and they disturb everyone. So we can also finish them, we can also kill them, but being sages, it's not our duty to kill them. And I request that you send your son Ram with me. I'll take him to the forest, train him in missiles, train him in martial arts, train him in archery. And also, I want his help for the killing of the demoniac tendencies, demoniac forces, the demons. When Dashrath heard that, he almost fainted because his son was very dear to him. And he said that my son is very young. How can he fight? He's so soft, so tender, almost a pre-teenager. Very disturbed. He said, can't kill my son. But then the sage said that you have promised me, you have given a word that you will do whatever I say. You want to serve me. So with a very heavy heart, Lord Ram was sent to the forest. Lord Ram, along with his brother Lakshman, was sent to the forest with the sage Vishwamitra, so that the demons could be killed. The lesson we learn from this incident is, if we want to kill or destroy the demoniac tendencies within our heart, and I hope all of us agree that we have some demoniac tendency, we have some dark side in our consciousness. If we want to purify that, if we want to improve ourselves, it will never happen in a comfortable situation. We can never improve in a comfortable situation. We can never upgrade ourselves in a comfortable situation. As the saying goes in English, no pain, no gain. We can never improve, we can never become a better version of ourselves in a comfortable situation. For becoming a better version of ourselves, we need to do some hard work. We need to put some pressure on ourselves. We need to move out of our comfort zone. We need to take on some difficulty and obstacles. As it is said, to shine like the sun, first burn like the sun. So it takes some hard work. We need to move out of our comfort zone. And that's when things happen. Nothing happens in comfort zone. And therefore, if we wish to become better, if we wish to become elevated, spiritually elevated, and better in our consciousness, we need to work hard. It doesn't come from comfort zone. We need to chant regularly, get up early, be with spiritual people, and develop good habits. Lord Ram was able to kill all the demons and demonic forces when he moved out of the palace, because nothing could have happened sitting inside the palace. That's what kings and princes used to do in the earlier times. Situations improve when people move out of the palace. The king goes out of the palace and then he improves the situation. Nothing happens sitting at your own couch. And that's when Lord Ram went with Vishwamitra and killed all the demonic forces, killed all the demons, then got married to Sita in the city of Mithila, and then came back, bringing back a wife. And then subsequent stories, later he was banished into the forest for 14 years. Okay, so this is the third lesson which we learn from this incident. Third lesson we learn from Ramayana. Very important and crucial lesson. Okay, so with this we'll stop. Our time is up, and we'll keep continuing. We'll continue this series till all the 25 lessons are covered with explanation. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your patience. Does anyone have any question? Any comment? You feel it is relevant? Any comment from your side or some take-home message from your side? Yes, Amrita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I
Hare
want to
Krishna.
ask, like, we are living in a world where people have anger. and because of them or because of their behavior, we also develop anger in ourselves. So, and if we don't speak up because we want to maintain peace, then it hurt us. And when we speak up, then the situation gets worse. So, and anger is traveling from one person to another, from maybe from me to somebody else. So, how to handle this situation and what a person should do?
Good point. A very good question, Amrita Mataji. Thank you very much. Actually, we need to balance. I'll explain that to you. Mm, Yesterday, I was seeing a very beautiful video. It was mentioned there that if it is required to speak up, we should speak up. Like in terms of saving relationship. If it is required to speak up, we should not remain silent. And if it is required to remain silent to save a relationship, then it is better to be silent. Let it go. Because relationships are more important than being right in the situation. This is regarding relationship, one aspect. And as you said, people have anger issues. Yes, people have anger issues because they don't have control over their emotions. But we should, being a spiritual practitioner, we should judge ourselves. Does the situation require a reaction? Because every situation doesn't need a reaction. Many things are to be ignored as there's a car principle, CAR, car. C stands for change the changeable. Okay? Whenever a situation can be changed, so we should respond. We should make some efforts. A stands for accept the unchangeable. Some situations cannot be changed. We need to tolerate and be patient, let time pass through. This too shall pass. And R stands for realizing difference between the two. What is changeable, what is not changeable. So our reaction depends on the situation. If the situation demands a reaction, then we should surely react. We should not be silent. Coming to the next part of the question, which you asked, that the situation worsens when we react. Actually, we should not react angrily. But how a spiritual, steady person reacts, he reacts firmly but politely. We should be assertive, we should be firm, we should be determined, presenting our logic, some facts and figures, but we should behave in a way that is polite. So that way, if we become humble, if we don't react, then automatically situation subsides, the anger subsides. And therefore, more than reacting, we should learn to respond, ponder over the situation, just hold back, come to the back foot, and then respond figuratively, respond with wisdom, than reacting abruptly. So and it takes practice. It takes practice. We need to develop very high sense of intelligence, and it takes some practice. So gradually it will come up. It will take some time.
Thank you, Hare
Okay.
Krishna
Thank you very much,
Prabhuji.
Anita. There's a question in the chat box. Is Lord Ram the same as Ram in the Maha Mantra? Does it refer to someone else? Okay, thank you. Nasreen Mataji, yes. Actually, the name Ram in the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, uh, it's not specifically some incarnation, but it means the word Ram, the letter of the word Ram, the letter Ram means one who provides bliss, one who provides happiness, one who is the source of happiness. So, yes, Lord Ram is also the source of happiness. Krishna is also the source of happiness. Balaram is also the source of happiness. So, it can be anyone. More than imagining a figure for Hare Rama, the syllable Ram, the focus should be on hearing. And yes, it can be anyone, not just Lord Ram. It can be Krishna also, Ram also, and Balram also. Okay, Nisrin Mata, does that answer?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything else? Any comment or take home message from anyone? Anyone? Swati Mataji, Renu Mataji? Yes, Swati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this session, and hope you're feeling better. Thanks for taking time and coming here and explaining all of this. Yeah, I really like the session, and I'm always little scared, like you said in the first passage. If you see, with respect to Kaikeyi, she was very much like good bonded with Lord Rama, and suddenly, I don't know, like she becomes against him. So likewise in our lives also, like with my kids, I'm little scared, if my daughter is having cousins too. Is it okay to give access to our kids from them, like we giving access of our kids to others, and down the line what happens with them, we never know. So that kind of question mark all the mothers will definitely have, not sure how to protect it, but few things are like beyond our control too. So do you want to add anything on this, Prabhu?
Yeah, yeah, good point. Good point. I can understand it's a, decent problem in the Indian families,
Yeah,
but the underlying concept is that we should always take care what input they are gathering. There's no problem in giving access to our kids with the cousins, and but we should take care that what input they are gathering, what content they're consuming online, what kind of actions they're doing. Some supervision is required, especially in today's time. Some vigilance is required in supervising the kids. What are they doing? Where did they learn things from? So this kind of supervision is required. Many times we don't teach them something, but they learn something from the cousins. They learn something in the school. So we need
that's
to be
true.
a little cautious. And if we think that they're susceptible to bad inputs through the cousins or through the school, because there are some things we cannot avoid. Because if we can stop access from the cousins, one day they'll go to school. So how will we stop them? We should take some
That's so true.
measures. We should take some measures where we can also provide spiritual input to them, like this very presentation, lessons from Ramayana. That they should be cautious. They should also learn that what is right and what is wrong, what things they should avoid, what things they should accept. So they should also be given this wisdom. Therefore, in the earlier times, students were or the kids they were, because the mothers, especially the mothers, the parents used to teach them stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata from Bible, from different stories, so that they learn wisdom, they become spiritually inclined, and they learn what is right, what is wrong. So that can be done with them.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes, sir. Gopal Sundar Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, very nice session. So I have a question. You can hear me?
Yes, clearly. Please
Okay.
go ahead.
So regarding the anger issue, I'm very short-tempered. I like the thing is for me, I get angry very quickly and it goes away also very quickly. So since, as you know, I'm in a henna business, so sometimes there is a pressure from the client. Like I'm just giving you a scenario. Things needs to be done, artist needs to be on time, and I don't want to like I'm grateful to all my artists who come and do the service, but for XYZ reasons, if they are not on time, then it gives a negative remark to my business, and the planner they yell at me. I'm just giving you a situation, right? So I don't want to be rude or to upset my artists, because I also know that they are coming all their way and helping me. So they are not my like bonded slaves, but still they are helping me. I respect them, but I try to control my anger and I try to stay calm, but it shows on my face. Right, this is my conditioning. Like it really shows on my face, and no matter what, I can't hide my emotions. And unless and until I tell that person, and like 1 or 2 days later, I'll still say, and it comes out from my heart. But I know that it might ruin the relationship. I pray to the Lord, but then still, like, it's my conditioning. It keeps hovering in my mind. It's not only about henna, something else also if happens. So I try to not react, try to respond calmly, but still my facial expression, anybody can judge that I'm really upset about that. how can I improve? Like I really pray about that. This is the conditioning, like it's a deep rooted conditioning, and I'm struggling with it for a very long time. I'm a very straightforward person. Whatever is in my heart, it will come out. But being straightforwardness may hurt somebody else's emotions also. And I'm very conscious about that. And since I'm on a spiritual path, I know like um, I'm representing ISKCON and I should behave nicely. But how can I improve, and can you guide in this respect, Prabhu? Hare
Yes, yes.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. First of all, I appreciate that you accepted this in this forum. It is going online. It is recorded. It takes great guts to accept this. And I would also like to submit before that actually I am also short-tempered. I was short-tempered. But gradually, it's in my practice also that I'm also struggling with this, and everyone struggles with this. And as you mentioned, it's you are struggling with this, and you do respond instead of abruptly reacting, but it visibly shows on the face. At least that is a good practice. That is a good practice. A very important lesson which we learn, which we can learn is people who are straightforward, and like it's with me also, I'm very straightforward in nature. But there's another thing we should learn that it is not justifiable that we speak whatever we want in name of straightforwardness. Bhagavad Gita mentions that we should speak the truth, but we should also speak the truth in a way that is pleasing and beneficial. Like that. So Anudvega Karam Vakyam, Bhagavad Gita mentions that Satyam Priyam Hitam. What kind of speech we should have? Satyam, truthful, Priyam, pleasing, and Hitam, beneficial. So truth, which is pleasing also and beneficial for that person. That kind of speech we should have. And coming to the next point, that even though you may not react, but you respond later, yes, that's a very good practice, and it takes some goodness to not react abruptly. We should also gradually learn, and it takes time to come to practice that even though we express a dissatisfaction, even with our team, with colleagues, with devotees, with outsiders, we should know, we should learn the art of expressing it maturely, expressing it in a way that the other person doesn't feel hurt. And the secret behind that is when we have a positive investment in the relationship, like in bank, more than the withdrawal, the focus is on investment. We keep adding newer and newer sources so that our bank balance increases. And we focus less on withdrawals because unless there is some money in the bank, how can we withdraw? So when we want to express to a person that we are dissatisfied with him, we are upset with him, we should have some positive investment in the relationship also. Loving and caring for them, giving them shelter, giving them some care, some affection gradually. So that will help, and that will help a lot. And this takes time, and we should associate with such devotees who are like that, who can express dissatisfaction, but also very maturely, like that. And the third point, which you mentioned, even though you may know it, but that very moment you may not speak something, but it expresses, but it is visible on your face that you're very upset. Yes, that also will take some time. Actually, the secret to control anger is a person should have so much satisfaction and fulfillment in his heart that whenever he sees the other person is angry, he should understand that it is not that person becoming angry at him or her, or at us, but that person is affected by the modes of material nature. Therefore, a lot of spiritual practice is required to bring about that fulfillment, that satisfaction, where we can be concerned for the person who is becoming angry rather than becoming reversibly angry at him, that how can you say something to me? Or we visibly, give a grin at our face that What the hell are you talking about? It takes time. It's some practice. Some practice is required. It takes time. But ultimately, the more fulfilled we are in our hearts, the more we are connected to the superior sources, the more connected we feel to God, the more spiritual strength we have, it becomes easy for a person to be. A devotee naturally becomes tolerant in that particular situation. As Krishna mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Tams Titikshasva Bharata. Because that is the world in which we are living. People are agitated, they are uncontrolled, they can speak anything. For a small mistake, they can speak anything. We should learn to control because it's in our business, it's our profession. We need to deal with people. The more people we deal with, the more tolerant we should become. It takes it takes time. It takes time. But since our focus is fixed, since our goal is fixed, and since our purpose is that we become spiritually elevated and enlivened, we don't give attention to these petty things. It becomes easy like that. I hope that answers to some extent, Madhu. It's a very
Yes,
long
Prabhuji.
topic.
If you have time, can I ask another question?
Yes, please.
Something related to this. So everybody has a different personality, and we do carry our baggage of karma, right? So in my situation, uh, what happens if something bothers me, like, and I know that I'm following a spiritual path and I should behave nicely, but of course, due to conditioning, I lose my temper. But in my heart, I know I should not do. I try to control. So the situation doesn't arise. What I do, I just go silent and avoid that person. So nothing bad comes out from my mouth. Nothing bad in the sense, nothing hurtful comes. So I start avoiding situation. I start avoiding people. And I then that uh, time I like to focus more on my sadhana, hear more Guru Maharaj Prabhupada's lecture. But then what happens, people start noticing that I'm avoiding, and they ask me why you're not coming, this and that, like, I'm just giving a general scenario. But for me, I get a lot of help from hearing and reading and chanting, so that I can improve and get that strength to come out more stronger and improve myself. Am I doing wrong, or I should continue to face the world? Because I mean, I may be very bold outwardly, but in my heart, I'm not that strong that I can face duplicity and hypocritic behavior. When, like, in general, sometimes I'm in a situation like that. So I'm not able to face, sometimes people are emotionally very strong, and they can be very, I mean, they can handle the situation, any situation very nicely. I hope it makes sense. You're able to understand, Pro. I'm sorry
Yes.
if anybody else has any questions, they can go ahead and ask. We can take this topic later.
Yes,
I don't want to take much of the
I'm
time.
able to understand, and it makes a lot of sense. First of all, I just would like to address that when we avoid situations and we are in our own zone, in our own bubble, at our own place, just reading and chanting and hearing classes. But actually, that knowledge which the spiritual knowledge which we are gaining from such practice will become realization, that will become realized knowledge only when it is applied in the real scenario. You understand what I'm saying? When we hear
Yes,
something,
Prabhuji.
like we hear that one should be a God-centered person, should be very humble and very tolerant. But we never go outside and deal with provoking situations. So how do we test ourselves? How do we realize this principle? It only happens when we are amongst people. It can be the devotee circle where we are connected, or it can also be the professional circle where we are connected, where we are working. So we cannot avoid dealing with people, right? And dealings with them, we cannot avoid people. It just becomes very difficult because we need to live in a world where we work for earning money. We go to temples and associate with devotees. It cannot be avoided at any cost. But It happens with me also, and I would like to personally admit that I also, since my memory is I would say very, very sharp, I remember everything. But that's a problem also. I remember everything. I remember every bad thing also. I remember every statement which people say. I remember everything. The names of people, phone numbers, bad incidents, good incidents, verses, anything. Remember songs, remember movies, remember everything. And that's a disadvantage also, that I remember everything. I cannot forget anything. It becomes very difficult. I learned this principle some time ago, that when something bad happens, what do we do? Someone does something bad to us, even though it may be wrong. What do we do? First, we should forgive the person. We should forgive the person. Second, we should forget the incident. Let it be. We should forgive and forget, because that will put such a heavy toll on us. We should forgive the person, forget the incident, but the third principle, but remember the lesson learned from that incident. These principle we should apply in our life. We should forgive the person. It's okay. People keep committing mistake. It happens. We should forget the incident. We should try to forget the incident. It should not affect our spiritual and material lives both. But we should remember the lesson learned from that incident. Very important. So when we apply these tricks, because interaction and social life cannot be avoided. Even for a person like me, I'm a monk in the temple, but I cannot avoid. I need to meet families, boys, girls, kids, youths, everyone. Just cannot be avoided. So we need to practice this principle, and it only happens, as I mentioned earlier, only when we have some spiritual taste. Then it becomes very easy. Like us, an ocean is always calm because it has a lot of water. Ocean is always calm, at least in the middle. The beach side, the beaches, yes, there are waves coming and going, coming and going. But the middle of the ocean is always calm and still, because that has depth. Whenever there is depth, wherever there is depth, there is stillness, there is calmness. So that is what is required. I hope that answers to some extent, Nadi. Hare Krishna. Are you there? Behind the mic.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
All right. If anyone else wants to say something, any last comment or some? Yes, Nicole. She's unmute
I
for
just,
for a long time. We are not giving her chance to speak. Yes, sorry, Nicole.
oh, no, definitely okay. I'm actually, I'm glad Dolly actually answered, or asked a lot of those questions, because this is the part of our discussion where, I actually related a lot more, not that the lecture wasn't, proper, and forgive me, I'm a little bit under the weather today. So I I actually like the fact that, for number three, where you said, that we should vanquish the the Dominic tendencies, that are in our heart. But when the very last thing that you said was, um, that we have to actually, and be around the people with like minds, which is like that's happening today. But here's the issue, because we all suffer from the same thing, which is, the maybe a short temper, or not being patient with individuals. And I think we're all suffering from that in this room. Um, when we're actually speaking the truth, and speaking, so that it's beneficial, it's it's been a challenge, and I'm going to just use the scenario for me to calmly and explain, a specific situation where we could all come together, in order to have one specific goal, which is beneficial for my entire family, or my entire friend group. Um, but everybody is not on the same page, and this just happens to be years and years of the same argument, almost like a family feud. we, we all love each other, but we can't come together. And unfortunately, it's based on money. But the issue is that um, it's difficult for me to be the calm, um, rational individual when the persons are um, fighting against it just for the sake of argument. So I guess what I was looking for is how do I approach, and I don't know if this is the right form, but how do I approach a situation with a group of individuals that have been fighting for over 10 years over the same situation, which just happens to be property, where we could peacefully resolve the issue and come together and build onto the property versus um, uh, the constant fighting. Really, what I want to do is what you said specifically in number two, which is we should be of service to each other and offer contributions to each other. But we're so busy fighting to be right that we can't come together.
Yes.
Did I format that right?
Yes. I understood. It makes sense. It makes sense. I understand the
So
situation.
yeah, so I guess what path do I or what path should I take in order to just bring these people together? I'm saying it truthfully and with benefits. Oh, you know what? I already answered my own question. I think I may have to pull out a PowerPoint. I actually answered my own question. You answered it earlier. I think that we have to be creative in a different room. So never mind. But thank you very much. I think the lesson was very well. Um, I think I just needed that aha moment from this meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Thank you very much, Nicole, for your response.
You're very welcome.
All right. Anyone else? Any last comment, or we can wind up here? Okay, I think we can stop it. Thank you very much for your patient listening and taking out your valuable time. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much.